boxing.
Beats and rhymes.
No one can do it better.
I'm trying to help here, yeah? I don't want to come off like a total know-it-all. But you can see it here. It's time-stamped. TalkSport, Conor Benn, Tyson Fury, confidentiality. In quotation, confidentiality, double standards. This is what I'm discussing. So, when Jake is telling us the difference with Conor Benn is that he did the very opposite of using confidentiality benefit. What is confidentiality benefit? You're just making up stuff that it's not even cohesive. And then went very public, voicing his innocence and coming out with outrageous excuses. Outrageous excuses, you mean we ingested wild boar, but then you accepted a backdated ban, and that you had the nandrolone in your system, but you don't know how it got there. And it was the farmer who suddenly got cold feet about revealing what really went on. Jake carries on. How are you ignoring all that? His outrageous excuses, his breaking confidentiality. So we're talking about breaking confidentiality with the information that cleared him from the National Anti-Doping Panel in conjunction with UCAD, the British Boxing Board of Control, and the Data Protection Act. Not going on Piers Morgan or protesting his innocence. What were these outrageous excuses? There are no outrageous excuses. If you're watching this video, let's see you go in the comment section and point out these outrageous excuses he made. He already said he was innocent. When the WBC put it down to eggs, he said, nah, I don't agree with that. It's not down to eggs. I'm innocent. That's what he said. He said he's innocent all the time. See, they make stuff up. Outrageous excuses. What outrageous excuses did he make? Like Tyson Fury with a wild boar. Like Huey Fury with a wild boar. Then he throws a shot at me, talking about all the other channels picked up on this. You mean them clickbaiting channels, who haven't got an original idea in their head, who were just like you, making stuff up, and were hanging Conor Benn before any conclusion to his case was brought about. Maybe that's where you need to be. Before anyone says anything, I've never said Conor Benn was innocent, and I've never said he was guilty either. Yeah? When you're talking about, well, I just don't like his attitude, we just don't like him, that's got nothing to do with the topic. One of them said the difference was Tyson Fury stayed quiet through the process. Really, he threatened to sue UCAD. He wrote about it in his book, complaining they had it in for him. He didn't just stay silent. But you guys love Tyson Fury, so when he comes out saying shit about Alexander Usyk being a steroid head, you love it.
You know what I can't believe? That AJ has gone and give Ukraine all heavyweight belts back after all my hard work of relieving them. You big useless dosser. You've let a little steroid ban come up from middleweight and set about you.
Remember the meme where he was surrounded by cocaine on the table like Tony Montana, and he was retweeting it like he was proud of it after he popped for cocaine, a substance Liam Cameron did 4 years for. But even so, nothing to do with the topic matter of his entitlement to confidentiality with his UCAD case. Now I'm just making a point here that Tyson is loudmouth, he offends a lot of people, but for some of you, that makes him one of the lads. We love Tyson Fury. So you might not like Conor Benn, but not everyone likes Tyson Fury. But let's compartmentalize who likes who wants to suck whoever's whatever, and stick to the topic. You are not on topic. I don't see what's the point you listening to my videos and you're not dealing with the topic matter. You know what I would like? I would like to put the topic out there and perhaps you bring up some stuff that perhaps I missed concerning the topic. I'm not talking about the popularity contest, Tyson Fury or Conor Benn. I'm talking about confidentiality and your entitlement to maintain confidentiality or break protocol with confidentiality. That's all. Attention deficit. That means you cannot focus on simple tasks, on simple comprehension. You cannot focus on it. You're already going off, oh, well, I don't want to address that. I want to talk about this. And I'm laughing because the responses prove UCAD right. UCAD is of the view that providing the requested information devoid of any further evidential context may well lead to uninformed speculation. They're talking about you being confused about what confidentiality means. He was screaming he was innocent. That's breaking confidentiality. Ooh, no. Well, we just don't like him beats. You see, that's why. That's why. Not just UCAD or the board or the NADP or Conor's lawyers will not let the information out. That's why government keeps stuff away from the public, because they're not often pragmatic enough to disseminate the information. And that's just the truth. They got to treat us like children. Try and stick to the topic matter. Read the title. Stick to the receipts. There's receipts there from UCAD. I actually put a yellow highlight on where it said confidentiality. And now I'm putting a highlight on where they're saying uninformed speculation. Some of you have to grow up a little. And I guess this is the internet, social media thing, because you're flipping from one thing to the other, to the other, to the other, and you're not retaining much of what you're looking at. And I do that. But I guess because I'm grounded with old school values, and I was told in school to comprehend something, you have to read through the document, or at least the title, a few times, at least 3 times, to start retaining information so you can stick to the topic and not sound like a bit of a jackass. It's not a popularity contest. Confidentiality was the topic. But anyway, Ryan Garcia's suspension will be up soon, and he's going to and he's going to fight for the vacant interim WBA strap against Rolly Romero. Neither of them have fought at welterweight as far as I know. Ryan, he's had 3 fights since 2022. One of them he lost against Tank. His win against Devin was reclassified to no contest because he cheated. And he gets a shot at the welterweight title, interim welterweight title. Boots Stanionis will be unifying for the quote-unquote real titles. Rolly, he's been knocked out in 2 of his last 4. And he's never fought at welterweight. Everybody seems mighty upset with Conor Benn, but not so much with Ryan Garcia. But it's that popularity thing. They like Ryan, they don't like Conor, I guess.
Hi everyone, so I'd like to share some thoughts about my last fight. Now firstly, I'm totally fine and healthy, not a mark on me, as you can see. Now, this is cruiserweight boxing. You don't stop a fight just because someone gets caught a few times. We're big guys, it's expected, and it's part of the sport. I was fine, I was landing some shots, I had my guard up and I was defending myself. The next thing you know, the referees jumped in front of my face just to stop the fight. Now, a fight should be over if someone's knocked to the ground, can't really get back up, or if someone's unable to defend themselves, not in the first sight of trouble. That's what the people have came to see, and until then, it can go either way. As I've shown in my previous fight, yes, I may get caught with a few shots, but then I deliver an absolute explosive knockout. So the chance to showcase my skill, deliver an explosive fight, as I always do, was taken from me and the people who came to watch. Now I think it's clear, I think it calls for a rematch with a referee that's not going to jump in with the first sign of trouble. Anyone that watched the fight that has a good boxing IQ or half a brain would absolutely agree. And along with that, I spoke to Benn after the fight and Sky, and they seem both in favour as well, so let's hope we get the rematch.
Now, I'm not going to pretend there was a whole load of people saying this was bad matchmaking, but there were a couple of people on Twitter saying this was bad matchmaking. So now they've gone from blaming Eddie for throwing his fighters in too deep to Ben Shalom. Nonsense. Need a good defense in modern day boxing because referees will jump in and stop fights. Perhaps prematurely, more so than you used to see back in the 80s and 90s. Scott was caught cold, steaming in, trying to land that right hand by a check hook from Aurel Ignat, 9-0, 8 inside the distance. He did throw a couple of shots back after the first left hook that hurt him, but the second left hook his opponent landed rocked him into the ropes, and his opponent was in the ascendancy, throwing both hands. Scott did have his hands up, but was he really defending himself is the question. He wants a rematch. Scott is very raw. He's very raw. He falls to 7-1, 4 inside the distance. Some people were saying it was bad matchmaking by Boxer. Who do you want these guys to fight? He's 7-0. His opponent is what? 8-0. Scott is 30. His opponent's 29. They're not young kids. This was a good matchup. He wasn't overmatched. I've had to go at Ben Shalom, but you can't blame Ben for this. This was a well-matched fight, and Scott came off second best. Shit happens. It's boxing. Scott was still on his feet. If he wants the rematch, he can get the rematch. Ben Shalom said he's interested in the rematch. I'm sure his opponent will be interested in the rematch. He'll want a bigger check. Scott's trainer, however, might not be interested in that rematch. Maybe a few fights down the line, but immediate rematch, might not fancy it. Scott, very muscle-bound, does have power. Showed some decent counter-punching skills against Devon Miller last time out, a couple of weeks back actually. Devon was lighting Scott up. He was a bit longer than Scott, pause, and he was lighting him up. But Scott managed to counter in between Devon's combinations, and Devon perhaps got a little greedy. But the vulnerabilities were there to see with Scott. He's hittable. And Oral Ignat exposed that. But if he takes the rematch in, let's say, a couple of months and gets his ass whooped for a second time, they'll have a real rebuilding job on their hands. So they might want to get a hold of the situation and say, well, look, Scott, let's be a bit more realistic with your matchmaking and your ambitions for a little while. That's what they might be thinking. Oral Ignat, his opponent, okay, he's got 8 KOs in 9 wins, but before he fought Scott, he had only beat 1 opponent with a winning record. Is that why they selected him? The guy he beat before Scott had a record of 10, 31 and 3. The guy before that, 3, 19 and 1. But obviously, he can fight a little. I mean, now he stepped up. He showed what he can do. Hey, the way he timed that left hook, walked Scott onto that check left hook, and he put his punches together pretty well to stop Scott. Controversial or not. The question now is, how good is Oral Ignat? Born in Moldova, resides in Wembley, London. 29 years of age. Tall, rangy, loose-limbed type style. Look pretty useful. Good counter-puncher, decent finisher. I wonder if Ben bothered to get any options on him before he turned Scott over.
Boxing.
Beats and rhymes.
No one can do it better.
The Povetkin doping issues started, or at least came to public knowledge, in 2013 when he was to challenge the unified heavyweight champion of the world, Vladimir Klitschko. He lost a wide UD to Klitschko, Povetkin. Now Klitschko wanted the German National Anti-Doping Agency, NADA, to conduct the testing, and Povetkin wanted RUSADA, who have been plagued with allegations, I'm just going to say allegations because I don't have all the facts here, of corruption. They've been suspended by WADA, investigated, and that's just a vague outline. Because I can't be dealing with people in the comment section saying that's not true, this and that, that's slander, right? Now, meldonium was banned by WADA in January 2016. Povetkin was set to challenge Deontay Wilder for his WBC title on the 21st of May, when he tested positive for low concentrations of the substance in a blood sample. Team Povetkin claimed he had not taken it since January, when it was legal. They say he consumed it in September, but he hasn't taken it since January the 1st. So they're basically saying when they consumed it, it was legal. That's their argument. The fight was cancelled. Deontay Wilder won a lawsuit. They argued that Povetkin's positive urine tests came after 3 negative ones earlier in April, which meant that the boxer took the drug after passing the earlier tests. Lawyers for Povetkin said he, like many other athletes, had taken meldonium at a doctor's direction before the World Anti-Doping Agency had even announced plans to ban it. Team Povetkin won a counter lawsuit for the cancellation of the fight in New York. I'm not an expert. What drug stays in your system for 4 months after ingesting? December 2016, Povetkin was scheduled to fight Bermans Vern for the interim WBC title. The fight was cancelled with about 20 hours before they were due to be in the ring. He tested positive for Ostarine. His promoter, Rabinski, in regards to the positive test, said they are not clear where it came from. After losing to Klitschko in 2013, he went on a run, knocking out Mahmoud Shah, Carlos Takam, Mike Perez. He stopped Marius Wack late, injury stoppage. Johan Duhaupas came in very late notice for Bermans Vern wearing training shoes. He was knocked out in 6. I mean, he popped dirty with VADA in accordance with WBC protocol. But Russia, they didn't even suspend the guy. He went ahead and fought anyway. Suspicions were aroused as his body shape changed. He had big shoulders, barrel-shaped chest, and didn't look as fleshy as he appeared previously. Suspicions were aroused. 2 fights in 2017, the knockouts dried up against Andrei Rudenko and Christian Hammer, who both took him 12. Then he appeared at the Principality Stadium, Cardiff, on the undercard of the unification between Anthony Joshua and Joseph Parker, and he knocked out David Price in 5 thrilling rounds. He challenged Anthony Joshua for his free straps at Wembley Stadium later that year in 2018. And after a promising start, AJ put his combinations together and got him out of there. First time Povetkin was stopped, second time he was defeated. In my opinion, an underrated win on AJ's resume. So now he's making the UK his home. On another Matchroom card in 2019, he routs Hughie Fury on the scorecards, but doesn't get the stoppage against a negative Hughie. In Saudi Arabia, on the undercard of AJ avenging his loss to Andy Ruiz, Povetkin draws with Michael Hunter. Then we enter the lockdown period at the Matchroom headquarters, Brentwood, basically Eddie's backyard. He comes from behind to knock out Dillian Whyte with that highlight reel uppercut. What a punch that was. He rematches Dillian in Gibraltar, of all places, and is stopped in 4. And he retires. Said he's got too many injuries that need attention. He was around 40 years of age at the time. So he hasn't fought for 3 years. But we're hearing he is now serving a 4-year period of ineligibility following an investigation which uncovered the previously unreported presence of banned substance ostarine, which he tested for against Berman Stavern in 2016. But this was in 2014. The case, which is a part of a broader probe into the systematic doping in Russian sports, is being led by the International Testing Agency, ITA, for the International Boxing Association. And the evidence was retrieved from a WADA laboratory in Moscow. So they're saying here, the October the 25th, 2014 results, which would have been the fight where he knocked out Carlos Takam, have been disqualified. He can't do a suspension that was meant to be in 2014, in 2024. And he's now banned until 2028, even though he's not fighting. He's retired. If you see him now, he looks nothing like the boxer we saw. He's lost so much weight. He said, upon retiring in 2021, the years have taken their toll. I have all kinds of injuries that still need to be treated. He now works as a deputy governor in the Vologda Oblast region. His pro record was 36 wins, 3 losses, 1 draw, 25 knockouts. But as it says here in Boxing Scene, all his accomplishments, which included winning an Olympic gold in 2004 and a secondary WBA strap, are now likely forever tainted. As suspicious as Povetkin was one of the most popular fighters in terms of his style, the knockouts he produced. And it doesn't sit well with me, because I used to enjoy watching his fights. Boxing's a knocker, because you want to be outraged, but he was great to watch. He was. Apart from the Klitschko fight, where Klitschko held excessively, he leant on Povetkin's back and actually elevated his feet off the floor to get extra leverage into pushing Povetkin down. It was an atrocious performance by Vladimir Klitschko. When he was trained by Teddy Atlas, there was a few boring fights back then. Perhaps he wasn't juicing as hard. Fought Dillian twice. Dillian, he's got 3 violations against him, only 2 stuck though. Pretty sad for both of them, as they both accomplished a fair bit without becoming champions. That PEDs will unfortunately be a big part of their reputation and legacy.
Boxing
Beats and rhymes.
No one can do it better.